Hello, this is a belated video to thank quite a lot of people for the astonishing response recently to my appeals for funding. There really has been a very substantial step change in people's willingness to pay for, or to pay the expenses, the costs, for me to resist mosque planning applications, and I'm very grateful for it. I'm sorry it's taken me a long time to get around to it. The response has been so good that I've had about, in the last month, 8 cases to go after, and that is a lot of work, and it is hard work. But I'm getting around to it now. Now, the first people I want to say thank you to are the people who've been funding me for years, quietly, month by month, not making any fanfare about it, not expecting anything in return, and just trusting me to get on with it, which I find very touching and very encouraging. Most of these people are anonymous. I don't know who you are, but you do. So thank you, and I hope that the trust that you've shown in me is going to be repaid. I hope that my best is going to be good enough. And now that I'm starting to be able to get on with these cases properly and to go after, so far, pretty much any case that people ask me to go after. Now, I'd also like to say thank you to the people who've suddenly come forward to chip in to individual mosque campaigns. So not the people funding me month by month, but it's still very welcome. People who they see that I put up an appeal saying, I want to go after this mosque, someone's asked me to, will you pay the costs and expenses of it? And an awful lot more people are coming forward to do it, and very generously as well, very fast, and sometimes at very substantial amounts. I think the highest amount someone gave me was about 750 quid. I mean, that's a lot of money to give. And I'm grateful to people chipping in and doing a lot more than chipping in some cases. What it means is not only can I go after these cases, but it also gives me economies of scale, because I can at least devote an adequate budget towards it. And those economies of scale mean I can do a lot more damage. So think of giving someone a damn good kick in the ghoulies. Well, if you can wind your leg back twice as fast, you can do more than twice the damage, and that's what I'm able to do here. Well, what it means is I can do about between 2 and 4 times as much, usually 3 or 4 times as much as I was doing previously. So I'm very grateful for that. Now, the people I think kicked this off, the people I think should take a lot of credit for this, are in fact the Homeland Party, who came to me. Kenny Smith came to me about a month ago and said, we will pay for you to go after a mosque. And I said, okay, well, what do you want in return? Because I'm so used to people, particularly political parties, wanting something out of me. And he said, absolutely nothing. We just want you to win. Just go after this case. So, and I think they would have provided more if needed. Again, they asked for nothing in return, didn't ask for any publicity, haven't made a song and dance about it. When I said, listen, I don't really want a lot of publicity whilst I'm on the case, they said fine. They haven't tried to milk it for political capital, and I'm very grateful for that. And so what I would say is that judging by that alone, that suggests to me that if you are looking for a political party to join, I don't think you could do better than join Homeland on the basis of the way they've treated me. Very straight, very honest, very decent, very generous, and extremely effective. I appreciate that there are differences between Homeland and Patriotic Alternative. I don't want to alienate PA people and PA supporters who have also chipped into my campaigns. But I want to thank Homeland, but particularly because it wasn't just the one campaign. I think it was such a good news story that they just came forward and funded the whole campaign for me so readily. People got that and people liked it, and it gave people a boost. And what that meant was when I came forward with other campaigns that Homeland weren't funding, people were willing to come forward very fast. And in the cases that immediately followed, I got more funding than I was asking for, because I couldn't work out how to switch off the off button in time. So the first one, I asked for 1,600 and I got 1,800 because the money was coming in so fast whilst I was scrambling around trying to find the off button to switch off the campaign. So, and I think that hasn't happened since. And I think that's because people liked the good news story from PA, and it had a kick-off effect, a pump priming effect. So Again, that's really good for Homeland to do that. Now, what I'd like to do is to give an update on the cases that I'm dealing with as a result of people coming forward to chip in to fund these individual campaigns. Now, in total, there are, including the one that Homeland funded, I've got 8. The 8th one I've just put up an appeal for funding for that. You can see that on X. Now, I'd like to go through each one of them. I'd like to outline the money that came in and to show it on the appeal website, saying this is how much has come in. Ideally, I'd like to be able to say publicly, this is what the money's been spent on, and these are the cases. There are a couple of reasons why I don't want to do that. Firstly, I don't want to give a heads up to the enemy about exactly what I'm doing. There's no point giving them a spy hole into the way I'm operating. Secondly, there is no point associating myself with the campaign whilst it's still going on. I've got such a bad reputation, it'll get used against me, and the council might use it as an excuse to grant planning permission, saying people who say they don't want this mosque in their area, they don't really mean it. It's simply they're getting told to say it by me. Total nonsense. You can't get people to do that. People won't do that. All I do is enable local people within the area to have their say, which is what the system encourages and depends upon. It is an integral part of the planning, the planning system. What I think I can talk about instead is the recent campaigns, the most recent campaigns that I've been going after. 2 wins and 1 loss. That's not bad. If I just talk a little bit about those, these are the ones that happened before people started coming forward so readily to fund the campaigns that I'm fighting. So give me a second. So that's my little website, gavinbobey.com, /Mosquebusters, and what you see there is case number 109, 108, and 107. Littlehampton, that was a loss. Yate, that was a win, and Dagenham, that was a win. I'll just show you a little bit about those cases in a bit more detail about them. So that's the first one there. That's Littlehampton, if you can see that. Now if I zoom in to where it is, hold on, zooming in. Now the application was for that building there, 1 to 5 St. Martin's Lane. So it's quite a big, it's going to be quite a big mosque. This is one I lost. Now what I'm noticing is mosques are more and more trying to target, we're targeting churches. I'm doing something about that, or seeing if I can, but also targeting industrial estates. I think because they realise neighbours just don't want a mosque in their street, and they shouldn't. Neighbours have every reason to want to resist it. But this one, if I just put put the yellow man in there, you'll just see that place. If you look there, that is on a Friday afternoon when people are trying to get to their places of work. That's going to be chaos. I think that will be chaos around there. And if you look at that building from the application documents, it's the whole of that building is going to be transformed into a mosque now, and they got planning permission for that. I think that area they are going to regret the fact that place got turned into a mosque. I wish I could have thought it better. I think today I might have been able to defeat that with the funding I've got now, which it just enables me to do so much more, to run the campaign so much better. Okay, now the next one is this is in Yate in South Gloucester. So if you see there, Yate. So if I zoom in, North Yate. Hold on, if it'll let me go in, and then where it is I think it was that building where it says Spice something. Hold on. I think Spice 37, or else the one next to it, and that's right next to a Tesco's. So if I put the little yellow man, it's a bit difficult to see here. Hold on, get in there, and you should just be able to see. So if you just see right through there, that's a one stop. I don't know if that's a Tesco's, but that's basically a little quickie supermarket. And you imagine, if I come out again, if you imagine you suddenly you've got a mosque there, or right next to it, just there. What is going to happen to that supermarket car park? You imagine the chaos that you have there. That will not be a fun shop going around there. Okay, so let me go to the third one. Oh, and we won that one, by the way, in Yate. And then this is the third one. This is in Romford. Romford is getting targeted at the moment. I think that is East London expanding out. Romford is getting a tough time of it. I'm glad we were able to resist this one, able to win. Because this place, the former Gold's Gym, if you see again on a kind of industrial estate, or in fact the entrance to that industrial estate, you imagine you work on that industrial estate, and on a Friday afternoon you want to go home, or you've got a client you've got to see before he goes home on a Friday, and you imagine you've got a mosque right there, just on that junction. Think of the chaos you're going to have there. What are your chances of getting out in time? Because a lot of mosques, what I find is they say, and this is part of the parking jihad, where they're all, it's one step up from the parking jihad happens immediately. The next step is this is our area now, which means when there's a service on, you have no rights here. We dictate. This is our territory. And if you imagine just around that junction, if that became Islamic territory once a week on a Friday afternoon, that is not, or during Ramadan, that is not going to be pleasant. And that one, local people, we help local people to get it refused, and I'm glad we did. So those are those three. But the 7 or 8 cases that I've had since then, I'm able to fight much better. I would say between 2 and 4 times better, maybe usually 3 or 4 times better. And I'm also able to pay someone a little bit of money to help check and research on those campaigns, which means that they're better quality, they're more precise, and they're more safe, solid campaigns. And it's not just about stopping a mosque in an area. That is a good thing to do. That gives that neighbourhood the chance to hold on, the chance to get through to the other side of this without having been dominated in the meantime. So between now and when we win, it isn't inevitable that every area should go under domination. And I think by resisting a mosque application, we increase their chances of being able to survive in the meantime. That is a good thing. But it's also about what I wanted to do initially is to plant a flag of resistance. And I haven't been able to do that yet, but I think I'm closer to being able to do that. So it's something that some action that people can gather around and sort of feel a little bit a part of, that people are doing something so that people don't feel hopeless. And also I think it plays I hope and I believe it will play a vital role in remigration when it happens, because mosques are fortresses. They are primarily political and military centres before they are centres of worship. And fortresses delineate, which is what mosques generally are. Fortresses delineate territory, and so the more mosques there are, or rather the fewer mosques that there are, the smaller and more congested the enemy's territory is. So when it comes to the point of remigration, when it comes to the crunch, they'll be weaker. They have that much less ability to resist. That means we will be stronger. That means we will have more options. The more options we have available to us, the more humane the options that we select can be. And the more likely it is that we will be able to remigrate without atrocity, without dirtying our hands. So I think it is well worth doing. And also retaking fortresses usually costs lives. So I can see retaking mosques, when it comes to the crunch, could cost some soldiers their lives. So again, by preventing a mosque getting established, I think you might save the life of some hapless soldier. Now, I'd like to be transparent about money, but I don't want to go through the individual fundraisers on the webpage, the fundraising webpage, because there's no point alerting the enemy, and it also lets them know that I'm on a particular case when it's being run. And that's bad practice, because it gives the enemy the opportunity to associate opposition with me. And it's not about me, and it shouldn't about me. I've got no desire for power or celebrity. I want to win the cases. And I think the more a bad guy like me is associated with the case, the more it just creates another obstacle that the campaign doesn't need. So I just, the only way, what occurs to me, the only way that I think I can be transparent is to try and find some accountant who can audit all the money coming in and the money going out, and without itemizing every invoice and every donation coming in, is able to say, yes, this money is being used in the right way, and that no money is getting taken by me. I don't take any money. I don't get paid any money for doing this. I like to keep it that way. So I think it's good PR, and I think it keeps things clean. And also, I'm painfully aware of the likes of Tommy Robinson boasting about his drug use, or I understand, I read that he told a court that he gambled 100K in a casino. Was it in a night or something, or like before a court case or something? And I don't want to get tarred with that brush. I think that is that's a problem waiting to happen. And when that does happen, I want to be able to say, no, I'm clean, and here are the books. So I think I think the only way to do that without giving information to the enemy, I think, is for me to get all of the accounts audited. Now, so far that just hasn't been the case, because getting an audit done would have cost about 1 or 2 months worth of the money that I was getting. I was getting so little. Now I'm getting more. I think it is more worthwhile. Previously, I think people would say, well, why am I paying you just to get the money that I pay you audited? I might as well keep it and not give it to you. But now it's a larger amounts coming in. I think it probably will be worthwhile doing that. So if anyone knows a good, reasonably sympathetic accountant who's kind of on side with us, but straight as well, and wants to help and can help with combing through the accounts, then then I'll be happy about that. The expenses I take are very, very rare. Occasionally, things like a hard drive to store information securely, or else a mic, a clip-on lapel mic to do videos like this, things that I wouldn't otherwise buy, and it's pretty rare that I do that. Otherwise, I work for a living, and I've only got 24 hours a day, so I have to pay people to do some research and to check things. They do it at a good rate. They do it very thoroughly, very well. I think they underbill. So other people get paid a bit of money, but again, not to me, and I'm the guy in charge of the money. So anyway, so I think I'll get an audit done so you can see what's happening with your money now that you're giving so much more. I think that another encouraging sign, or another bit of encouragement that I take from people's generosity now, is that I think it's a sign of the times. When I started doing this moss busting about 15 years ago, the main effect I noticed was people just coming to me asking for money, saying, I've got a credit card debt, can you pay it off? In the thousands as well, people. And that happened regularly, really very regularly at one point. It stopped after a few years, but people occasionally still kept coming and saying, oh, I want free advice about my neighbour or my loft, or I had somebody email me recently about a children's home in their neighbourhood. They wanted me to help resist it for nothing, basically wanting free advice. And but since then, I've had a lot of people coming to me saying, stop this mosque, but I won't contribute anything to the expenses of it. What I noticed before the recent change in people being willing to fund the expenses is I was encouraged by the number of people coming to me saying, stop this mosque, I won't contribute towards it. That number was increasing. I think that in itself was a good sign, but I think I'm past even that now. People tend to come saying, stop this mosque and I will contribute, or else I can be confident that other people will contribute. So, and I think that's a sign of the times, a sign that people are very gradually ceasing to view this issue and these problems as a matter for entertainment, which is primarily the way people have viewed it, and gradually starting to see it as a subject for action, something to do something about, a problem to deal with. And I think money is very telling, but that's a good guide to what people are prepared to do. Partly because what I do is just not very entertaining. It is dull. It is boring. Most of these things are won at the desk. And again, I have to come back to it. I think that change began when Homeland funded me, because that good news story caused people to chip in so readily, and that's the point where it changed. That was the catalyst. Now, what I hope it means for the future, what I think it means for the future, is that bit by bit, I'm gradually going to be able eventually to put up a storm of opposition to each mosque application. Opposition that is legally focused, reasonably surgical each time an application comes in. What I'd like to be able to do in time is to have a well-organised town hall meeting to accompany each campaign against each application, perhaps supplemented by online campaigns as well, just to push the story a bit more. Possibly also dabbling in a little bit of media coverage, which I've tried to avoid for obvious reasons. But that's all in the future. I think that's going to be possible. If that happens, I think then the rubber really will start hitting the road then, and the enemy are really going to start feeling it, and they're not going to like it. So it should kick some dirt in the air. It'll do more than kick dirt in the air. It will stop them every time. They'll know they've got a really serious fight on their hands every time if I'm able to get to that. That's a position I want to be in. For now, I'm just very grateful for all the money that people are giving towards the expenses of these applications. And for now, it's just a matter of waiting for the outcome of these cases and to see how well they do. You have done what you can. And I hope that I have done what I can. And I hope that that is going to be good enough. And if it's not good enough to win in every case, I hope it will be. It may be. But if it's not good enough to win in every case, I hope it's going to be good enough for me to come back and brag to you in a few weeks' time or a few months' time saying, look what we did, look at the cases we won, look how the enemy are crying into their non-alcoholic beer. So thank you very much. I'll keep you posted, and thanks for what you're doing.